Rule number one, spend less than you earn. Wow, but if it was just to say obvious things, I wouldn't have even clicked on the video. Calm down, my friend. I'm going to explain. It's not how much you earn that makes you wealthy, but how much you keep. If you earn 20,000 and spend 20,000, you're not getting richer. You're just a middleman for money. The money may pass through you, but it doesn't stay for long. It's like you're a waiter serving money at other people's tables. It enters your account and immediately leaves to pay for the car, rent, phone installments, food delivery apps, credit card bills, interest, and everything else. And at the end of the month, you are back to having nothing. The truth is you only start building wealth when part of your money stays with you through your assets, whether investments or businesses. Basically, when you stop living on the edge of your salary and start creating a margin, a financial buffer. And the most curious part is that many people think that those who earn more live better. But that's not always the case. Some people earn 3,000 and sleep peacefully, and others earn 15,000 and drown in debt. The problem isn't only how much comes in, but how much is going out. Spending less than you earn is a skill. It's what separates those who only work to pay bills from those who work to build freedom. The difference between someone broke and someone financially free is not the salary, but the behavior. So if you think this rule is too obvious, answer me honestly. Do you apply it in your life today? Do you know exactly how much you spend per month? Do you have a margin left over that you use to invest in your future? If the answer is no, then maybe the obvious is exactly what you need most. And here goes a challenge. Live with 80% of your income for 3 months. And since this rule is so obvious, you should be able to complete this challenge, right? Rule number 2, pay yourself first. Most people think this rule is about separating 10% of your income to invest in fixed income or variable income. But actually, it's not. This rule is about your greatest asset, yourself. Think of it this way. You find a good job. Your salary is enough to pay the bills and still save 10% of your income. So you live like this. You use 90% to pay for your car, your house, groceries, and some outings. And the remaining 10% you invest in government bonds. The problem is that you as a person are not evolving, and after 5 years, you are still in the same position, earning the same salary. As the years pass, everything becomes more expensive. And the salary that once paid for everything and still left some extra now barely covers basic expenses. Many people fall into this exact situation. They may even have a notion that they need to save money, but they forget the most important part, constantly improving their skills to keep their value in the market. That's what paying yourself first truly means. Reserving part of your time and money to become a more valuable version of yourself. If you invest in stocks, fixed income, or real estate, but forget to improve your communication, productivity, problem-solving abilities, and mindset, then you become stagnant. And those who stay stagnant lose space because the market changes, technologies evolve, and competitors get better. If you don't change along with them, you fall behind. That's when your salary begins to lose strength and you end up needing to extract money from the investments you made just to maintain your lifestyle. Because while prices rise and the world moves forward, you stay still, doing the same things, earning the same amount, and hoping something is left at the end of the month. It's like being in a motionless boat while everyone else is sailing. Even if you're not sinking, you're also not going anywhere. So what you need to do is invest time to gain skills. Use those skills to earn more money, then use that money to gain more free time, and reinvest that time into learning new skills. This is the cycle that will truly make you wealthy. Rule number 3, define your priorities. You can pay for anything, but not for everything. Every choice you make comes with a trade-off. Money is an invitation to critical thinking. So if there's something you value, traveling, eating well, or owning a home, you can absolutely have it. You just can't have an endless series of ands. You can't have this and that forever. And this applies not only to money, it applies to your time, your focus, your energy, your attention, and every other limited resource you have. That's why you should always aim to be the best at what you're doing right now. Whether you're an editor, designer, singer, or anything else, pour 100% of your energy into it because this is what can place you into different levels of luck. Basically, it works like this. First, we have dumb luck, pure chance, being in the right place at the right time without needing any skills. Then we have luck through effort. The harder you work, the luckier you get. A good example is this channel. It took many videos before one finally gained traction and pulled the whole channel upward. I was lucky that a video went viral, but I also worked extremely hard for it to happen. After that, there's skill-based luck. When you attract opportunities because you're exceptionally good at what you do or have a unique advantage. For instance, I have a friend who speaks fluent Spanish and owns a barbershop in an area with many Spanish-speaking immigrants. Every time they arrive and realize he speaks their language, they recommend the barbershop to others. This helped him gain many clients. And the fourth type of luck is luck from others, when people choose you for big projects. This is the rarest and most powerful form of luck. It's when you built so much authority and credibility that people want you involved in their projects, even without you asking. This happens when you build so much authority and credibility that other people want to include you in big projects, even without you asking. For example, imagine you're a designer and you start posting your work on Instagram. After some time, someone who follows you and is building a startup invites you to be responsible for the entire visual identity of the company. You didn't even know this person watched your content. They chose you because they saw something in you that most people don't have. Quality, consistency, and professionalism. In other words, you attracted the luck of others because you became a reference. This type of luck happens when you plant so much value in the world that eventually someone important notices and thinks, this is the person I want to count on. And the more you dedicate yourself to something with focus, the luckier you seem to get. Rule number 4, have an emergency budget. There's a saying that goes, never start the day before planning it on paper. And this doesn't apply only to your day, it applies to your entire life. If you want financial stability and the ability to act when things get out of control, you need a plan. A simple plan, but a functional one. A plan that considers the best case scenario, but also the worst case scenario. Because living expecting everything to go right is the fastest way to despair. That's why you must plan for both the best and the worst. When something goes wrong, and it will at some point, many people panic because they don't know what to do. But those who have already thought about this and planned calmly can breathe deeply and say, all right, I know the next step. On a personal level, the ideal recommendation is to have at least 6 months of your living expenses saved. This includes rent, basic bills, food, transportation, medications, everything you need to live with dignity. And it's important to say, this emergency fund is not for travel, promotions, or impulsive purchases. It's for real emergencies. Losing your job, getting sick, fixing your car, or sudden unexpected expenses. With this reserve, you don't panic. You buy time. Time to breathe, reorganize, and find the best solution without having to get into debt or make desperate decisions. If you're an entrepreneur or have a business, the logic is similar. You need a reserve of 3 to 6 months of operational expenses. This includes rent, salaries, stock, fixed bills, platforms, tools, everything necessary to keep your company running. Many businesses close not because they lack profit, but because they lack breathing room. And you only get this breathing room by preparing for storms before they arrive. This also applies to financial crises. I'm not trying to sound alarmist, but inflation is rising absurdly. The government keeps spending, and on top of that, EUA has one of the highest tax burdens in the world. The government already collects almost everything it can, and since it has no intention of reducing spending, it leaves only one possible outcome: the country collapsing. That's why having an emergency budget is so important. It won't make you rich, but it will prevent you from going into debt just to maintain your lifestyle when things go wrong. Rule number 5, give to receive. If you're the type of person who holds on to every cent and refuses to let money flow, I'm sorry to tell you, your money is slowly rotting. Money wasn't made to stay still. If you hold on to it out of fear, it runs away. If you circulate it with purpose, it returns. And to be clear, I'm not talking about saving $5,000 for an emergency fund. This money has a purpose to remain still. I'm talking about people who save every cent and keep it idle for no reason. They hold it because they fear spending, fear losing, fear risk. For example, two people earn $3,000. The first keeps the money in an account untouched. The second uses the same amount to buy basic equipment and start a digital business. 5 years later, the first person's $3,000 is still $3,000. The second person's $3,000 became a digital product generating $2,000 per month. And yes, they could have failed, but if you keep your money still, never invest it, you'll lose it anyway. Through emergencies, inflation, theft, or anything else, use your money, invest it, make it circulate. The more value you create, the more comes back. Saving without investing is like storing energy and never using it. Rule number 6, minimize bad debt and maximize good debt. Robert Kiyosaki said that the difference between rich and poor people lies in how they use time and debt. While poor and middle-class people go into debt to consume, the rich use debt to invest and multiply their wealth. Most people use credit to buy things that lose value, such as a new phone, furniture and installments, clothes, trips, and even parties. All of this creates debt but brings no financial return. In other words, you are borrowing money to have something now that soon will be worth nothing, and you will still be paying interest for months or even years. Often the famous 10 installments without interest seems harmless, but what many people forget is that the installments add up, they take away your freedom, and even without visible interest, you're already paying more. What happens is that a person finances the TV in 10 installments, the cell phone in 12, the clothes in 6, and before they know it, half their salary is committed to consumer debt. And then, when an unexpected emergency or an unforeseen expense arises, the budget becomes chaos. But pay attention, it's not that you can never use credit. The difference is this: only use debt if it generates a return. A few years ago, for example, a friend of mine received a job offer to work in the United Kingdom. The problem was that he didn't have enough money to move there, so he took a bank loan. After 5 months working and earning in euros, he paid off the debt. Today, he has a higher position and a comfortable lifestyle. This is a perfect example of using good debt to leverage your life. Rule number 7, evaluate risk versus return. Warren Buffett has a phrase that perfectly summarizes this rule. Risk comes from not knowing what you are doing. And he is right, because risk itself is not the problem. The real problem is making financial decisions in the dark based on impulse or on other people's excitement. Some people put money into a stock they barely know just because they saw someone on Instagram saying they got rich. They don't even know what they're buying. They don't understand volatility, and they haven't read a single line about the subject, yet they bet everything on it as if it were a lottery ticket. And when it goes wrong, guess what? They blame the market because the fault is never theirs. When properly evaluated, risk can actually be your ally. In fact, the best investments in life almost always involve some level of risk. The difference is that those who build wealth study beforehand, calculate, start small, and make decisions based on logic, not emotion. Imagine two people buying the same property. The first one buys on impulse because it looks nice and the broker said it would appreciate. The second researches the area, compares prices, estimates renovation costs, and already knows how much they could sell it for. Both took the same risk, but one was prepared while the other was just hoping for the best. That's what this rule is meant to teach you. It's not about avoiding risk, but about understanding the game before placing your bet. When you truly understand it, you start to see the right opportunities, those with low risk and high return, where you can gain a lot while risking little. This is what we call asymmetric return, and this is how wealthy people play. They don't bet big on everything. They test with small amounts, learn, gain confidence, and only then increase their exposure. The more you know, the less risk you take, and the more money you make. Rule number 8, don't be afraid of money. Many people say they want to be rich, but deep down they are afraid of money, afraid of earning more and being judged, afraid of not knowing how to manage it, afraid of losing it, or afraid of becoming someone they're not. This fear is planted in our minds throughout life, through the stories we hear and the beliefs we absorb since childhood. Phrases like, money is dirty, rich people won't go to heaven, or people with money step on others, slowly shape our subconscious. Over time, we begin to see money as something dangerous. And if it's dangerous, we instinctively keep our distance. But here comes the paradox. You want a better, calmer, freer life, yet you unconsciously sabotage yourself every time you're about to take a bigger step. This happens because your problem isn't money itself, but the way you see money. And if this mindset isn't fixed, it not only pushes money away from your life, but also makes you suspicious of those who succeed. You see a neighbor buying a new car and assume something shady happened. Or you see someone investing well and think it was just luck. This is a defense mechanism, your brain trying to protect you from the idea that you can and should become wealthy too. Here's the raw truth. Money doesn't change character, it reveals it. It amplifies who you already are. If you are generous, humble, and ethical, more money will only strengthen those traits, allowing you to help more people, live better, and create greater impact. But if you are greedy and selfish, then money may worsen those traits. The problem was never money. It was who you chose to be with it. Rule number 9, avoid lifestyle inflation. You start earning little, living tight, counting every cent. Then after a lot of effort, your income improves, a raise at work, a new client, or a promotion. And instead of using this money to get organized, invest, or build an emergency fund, you start raising your standard of living. You change your phone, rent a bigger apartment, buy a more expensive car, start eating out more often, and before you realize it, you're earning more but still have nothing left at the end of the month. This phenomenon is called lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the main traps that prevent people from building wealth because it creates a false sense of progress. On the outside, your life looks better, but on the inside, you're stuck, or sometimes even worse off, because now you have more commitments, more bills, and more monthly obligations than before. The biggest problem is that this transition happens subtly. People don't realize they're trading freedom for appearances. Their salary increases, and along with it, the cost of maintaining the image of winning in life also rises. But deep down, this victory is fragile. All it takes is an unexpected expense, a layoff, an economic crisis, or a health issue. And this entire lifestyle collapses because there was no solid foundation supporting it. Avoiding lifestyle inflation is not about living like a monk or never enjoying anything. It's about growing with awareness. It's understanding that an increase in income must be accompanied by an increase in financial intelligence, not just consumption. It means prioritizing investments in freedom before spending on vanity. When your salary goes up, the first question shouldn't be, what can I buy now? But rather, how can I use this money to give myself more freedom in the future? People who truly build wealth usually live far below what they could afford. That's not poverty, it's strategy. It's living with less today to have more autonomy tomorrow. In fact, many of the wealthiest people you know choose to maintain simple habits because they understand that freedom is worth more than showing off. Rule number 10, find your why. Have you ever asked yourself why you get out of bed every day to go to work? And because I have bills to pay doesn't count. Everyone has that. The question is deeper. What truly drives you? What makes you face traffic, pressure, tough days, and still keep going? Rule number 10, find your why. Have you ever asked yourself why you get out of bed every day to go to work? And because I have bills to pay doesn't count. Everyone has that. The question is deeper. What truly drives you? What makes you face traffic, pressure, tough days, and still keep going? So don't climb the ladder of success only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. Be clear about your purpose. This will give you energy, direction, and yes, it will also give you more money. And if you've made it this far, comment towards 1,000 subscribers. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to change the way you deal with money in practice and learn the best method for financial freedom, the ebook link is in the description with a 60% discount for a limited time. I'll leave it here and see you next time.